plus veteran charities. And 20 to 25 of the top charities have been grossly misusing that money, as we've recently heard about one of the biggest ones. And so where is the money actually going to treat these veterans and to actually put them back as productive members of society? Where is it? So I would ask your listeners, your followers, to please take a close look at what we're doing at Team Veteran to create a corpus to be able to pay for these treatments without having to do constant fundraisers. Mm-hmm. Because when you put together a fundraiser, and we've heard all about it, and we've heard all about the 22 is too many, mm-hmm. no more 22, and on and on and on. And we all know in the veteran community, it's not 22 a day. It's 2 to 3 times that many. And 75 to 85% of them are actually Vietnam veterans.
Right.
Because they've gone with these undiagnosed TBIs. They've gone for years and years. And now they're retiring, and now they have nothing but thought. I mean, they can dwell on it all day long, and they finally just decide to check out. There's actually a suicide counter on our home page that ticks off every 48 minutes.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at that right now.
I'm acknowledging 30.
Yeah, that is absolutely, terrifying, and it actually, really kind of puts it in perspective, and you're preaching everything that I talk about on the show every day. The facts that we can't wait for the VA to fix these issues. We can't wait for, the politicians to fix these issues. It's up to us as a community to do our research on, the alternative therapies and find what actually works. And then it's up to us to ensure that it continues. So talk to us a little bit more about Team Veteran. The website's posted in the chat thread. It's teamveteran.org. Is the mission just primarily for, hyperbaric, treatments, or do you guys get into other things as well?
Yeah, it definitely is not hyperbaric only. It's integrative medicine alternative. We want to stay away from the drugs. We want to stay in areas that we truly know. As a former therapist, I dealt with heroin addicts, and we did it with talk therapy. We didn't use drugs. We did it through talk therapy at Naval Drug Rehabilitation Center. So it can be done. But first you have to, it's kind of like hardware, software. If the hardware is malfunctioning, you can't fix the software. It doesn't matter what you do to the software because the hardware doesn't work. The hard drive doesn't work. Mm-hmm. So what we're doing at Team Veteran, we're utilizing, let me back for a second here. Originally, we thought being a nonprofit was the way to go. Big mistake, because we were the ones creating the funding. We're not asking for donation. We don't accept it. We don't want donations, because then we're no different than any other veteran support group. We found 2 employee benefits, and that's what we're a for-profit company, and we give away a huge slice of our gross profits to create the corpus. And one of the issues that you hear about daily when you're listening to the radio or watching TV, and it has to do with identity theft. We use a product, and it's right there on the front of the page, Kroll's ID Shield. Kroll is the largest risk mitigation company in the world. They're the ones that found all of the stolen artifacts from Kuwait that Saddam had stolen. They're the ones that investigated Enron and found out what was going on, and ultimately it led to the demise of Arthur Anderson. So they're a very, very powerful company. They know what they're doing when it comes to identity theft. And so if you take a look at the competitor, which you hear out there constantly, when you look at the comparison, there's a dramatic difference. Plus, if you do it through Team Veteran, we're making the donation. Now, obviously, those donations don't amount to a hill of beans if it's 1 here, 2 here, 3 here. We're looking for corporations and companies to come on board with us, pay for the employee benefits for at least 1 year. That allows us to make a very large donation. Imagine Home Depot. We're talking about over $22 million donation that we would be making. for that first year. Now, that helps to create a massive corpus, a massive pile of money that sits there, and we deal with the interest coming off the bottom so that we can constantly have funds to support veteran charities, legitimate, vetted veteran charities. So you asked, is it hyperbaric only? No. Equine therapy, service dogs, guide dogs. There's a great story on our video section about an Army vet blinded in combat who was extremely suicidal. He was on 14 drugs a day. He went to Horse Rhythm Foundation, equine therapy, and got to a level of recovery that he could take on a guide dog. Well, those 3 videos are the story of him getting his guide dog. Valor was the name of the dog, or is the name of the dog. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at, acupuncture. Acupuncture has phenomenal potential. Due to what I was doing in Guam, I had a heart attack at the age of 24, 25.
Oh, wow.
Stress-related heart attack. Of course, the VA doesn't recognize any of that for me, but one of the things the doctor, he was an old school doctor, he was assigned to the command I was stationed at, recommended acupuncture. And I went down there and I started getting acupuncture treatments in Guam. Well, here in Arizona, there's a gentleman, Ron Fishkind, who treats veterans for acupuncture for free.
Wow.
So, and they're using acupuncture in conjunction with hyperbaric oxygen and finding phenomenal additional results. Very positive. So there are many things that we're looking into, and we are more than willing to help with the funding for that as long as Team Veteran can move forward and rapidly. It doesn't take long. Can you imagine Home Depot having signs on their doors saying, in conjunction with Team Veteran, we just donated $22 million to support veterans nationwide. The Lowe's manager walking through that door as they're checking out the competition is going to go, wait a minute, what the hell's going on here? How can we get involved?
Oh, yeah.
You get a snowball effect going, and all of a sudden, now you've got corporations all over the country. Can you imagine a large trucking company with the Team Veteran logo on the back of those trucks talking about how much that company has just donated to veterans nationwide? And we also have a fund separate for the veterans for first responders, mainly firefighters, because most police officers are covered under union and have good medical. Mm-hmm. But when you're talking about a volunteer firefighter, they get hurt. They have nothing. We had 19 of them die here almost 3 years ago here in Arizona. They're known as the Yarnell 19. They were killed in one huge accident while they were fighting a fire. And the attitude of the county was, well, you weren't full-time, so we really don't owe you any money.
Wow.
They weren't part-time when they were saving the businesses and the homes.
Right.
So those are things where Team Veteran could come in because, as you know, or maybe you don't know, but all of us in the Navy were also firefighters because of the Forrestal fire.
Right.
So we were all trained as firefighters. So I have a very strong affinity to firefighters because I am one.
Yeah, and it's
along with being a veteran.
Again, here's another thing that you and I have in common. I dabbled in volunteer firefighting, and I worked as a civilian medic after leaving the Army. So I absolutely love the fact that you're recognizing and working with first responders as well as veterans. This stuff is so exciting, and I know a lot of folks are still just fired up about this, and they want as much information as they possibly can. So if somebody's interested in getting whether it's hyperbaric therapy or something else, how do they start the process of getting involved and going down that pathway?
Well, they could contact us. They can use the oxygen at teamveteran.org as an email. My phone number is on our website, and they can contact us through that, and I can start putting them in touch with different groups that are involved in either Patriot clinics or Treat Now clinics. These are groups of hyperbaric facilities away from hospitals. These are freestanding facilities where they charge a hell of a lot less for the treatments. And by doing that, then we can get them in touch with these people, and then we can work on creating the funding. But the best thing that your listeners and any contacts that you have out there is talk to the decision makers. Everybody out there, 6 degrees of separation. Now they say it's only 3. Somebody knows a decision maker.
Right.
Somebody knows somebody that wants to help. And the advantage for the company is increased productivity because people aren't worried about things that they used to be worried about. And since you're paying for them anyway, you might as well have them productive. It reduces absenteeism, and there's a tremendous possibility for a tax credit or a tax benefit for the company because they offered it an employee benefit. So there's a tremendous amount of plus, win-win-wins all the way around. And
absolutely.
There are other companies that make donations. If you buy a product, they'll donate. It's called cause marketing. We just took it to the next level. And the bottom line, I don't have kids. I never will. I'm too old. I want to leave a legacy. And I couldn't think of a better legacy to leave than something that will help my brothers and sisters.
Oh, absolutely. And, one of the other things that I talk about on the show all the time is, especially for those of us who are dealing with post-traumatic stress, TBI, and things like that, is finding a mission and being a part of the community and doing something to contribute. And, there's a role for everybody. And, my role happens to be, talking on the radio, and, that's not different than, the person who goes out and helps feed homeless vets or somebody who's an advocate. It's everybody has a role, and it's so important. If you got some, I don't know how much time you have. I'd love to keep the conversation going. Would you mind if we open the phone lines up for a little while?
Sure, that's fine.
Okay, folks.
And
go ahead.
Well, while you're doing it, I was going to say, all of us veterans, whether you went through boot camp or basic, whatever it was, you learned one key thing, and that was shut up and follow orders. So if you've been in 2 years or 42 years, you're either giving or receiving orders. You get out, and all of a sudden, there are no orders. There's no mission. There's nothing. You don't know what to do. So your point about finding that mission is very critical to the success of a veteran, because we'll never be civilians. It's not going to happen. We're veterans forever. So we will always have a different attitude towards things. And part of the reason we became veterans serving in the military was to serve. And so I think it's very important for people to have that mission and to recognize that when they put that mission together, now they've got the orders. Now they know what to do.
Exactly. And,
Does that
again,
make sense?
You're 100% correct. And, again, we are a mission-oriented, task-oriented type people, and that comes from our training and all that. And to have something to hold on to have something to achieve, that's what it's all about. And it's one of the things that will absolutely save lives. I completely believe that. And folks, if you're out there listening in, you want to call in, you have any questions, 888-517-3464. We'd love to have you, sound off and let us know what you think. And, let's get you any of the information that we possibly can today. We have our guest, Gordon Brown, from talking about the oxygenation over medication, as well as their work with Team Veteran. Great stuff. And we were talking while we wait for some calls here. We talked a little bit about the VA and the fact that they're not covering this sort of therapy and actually very few alternative therapies. You cited the Phoenix VA in particular. Because that's in your AO there. Did you see the most recent story out of the Phoenix VA? It's sad stuff.
Are you talking about the suicides or?
Actually, there
which story?
It just broke today, and I'm trying to find the